click my name, you can do the slider up. Alright, just turn my microphone up. How's that? Right. I'll be right back. My internet connection's got me nervous.
I need you to hear and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight.
It seems it's steadied out.
We are heroes tonight.
I think it's, yeah, gear ringer. Yep.
We will fly above the sky.
No.
We are heroes tonight.
Yeah, he's with Kyle Oakley. I just found that out a couple minutes ago. If you don't have, no idea. They're new guys, so I'm still getting situated. It's Tico. Yep, Tico. Yep. That's, dude, I fully understand. I'm not overly picky, dude. Yeah, he's with, I don't know who he's with right now. Yeah, he's one of the new guys too.
From town to town, from London to Taiwan, I've been all around the globe.
Yeah, he's a new guy too.
To protect your soul.
Yeah, he's new. I'll be right back, dude.
I'm Rob Wheely, and I'm the CEO of Alloy Wheel Repair Specialists. We're the world's largest provider of wheel refinishing, remanufacturing, and wheel replacement. My dad was a car enthusiast, always working on cars of his own and new projects. That passed down to me, and it still grows with me today. Wheels have become the jewelry of the car. People want their wheels to look nice. We provide basic refinishing of wheels. We have remanufacturing facilities that provide extensive repair. We also have put all of our processes through an independent facility that's accredited. You can find those certifications on our website. We do it all. You bring your wheel to us and we'll figure it out. We strive for not just customer service experience, but customer excellence. We want to wow them so they come back each and every time. All of our technicians are trained and certified. We even have a master training course. It's important to love what you do. It's important to make employees feel a part of the team, and they're seeing the same rewards as you do. That's what helps us accomplish our goal. Everybody's our customer. The retail public, dealerships, body shops, insurance companies, warranty companies. We have a claims department. We're the ones that they call to come in and repair it. So if you find yourself in need of wheel refinishing, wheel repair, wheel replacement, or if you just want to custom color your wheels, give us a call. We'll help you find the right location, or you can go to our website. There's a locator on there to find the location closest to you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in to the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Tonight, we duel at Daytona in the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series, presented by Alloy Wheel Repair Specialists. These guys are getting ready to take the track for qualifying, where they will set the lineup for the two races that are going to set the lineup for the Daytona 250 next week. Going to be the biggest race of the season. You're not going to want to miss out on that. But before we can get there, we got to see who's going to grab the pole. And we will find out tonight. Qualifying, as I said, just about to get underway. We'll see who takes the track first here. We'll get you track side where it looks like Scott Naslund is going to be the first car out in the 22 machine. Couple drivers out tonight. New guys, they do have teams, but we won't have them listed yet as we have not actually received word on their team name just yet. We will have that as soon as we can. Let's go to somebody maybe does have a team. How about Jeffrey Souza in the 96 car? We saw him in the Clash last week. He's back, ready to see what he can do in the duels tonight. See what kind of line Jeffrey runs here. Everybody going to crank up, get as much speed as they can on the top this first lap. You'll see him drop down low, run as fast as they can on that yellow line the second lap. And if you are just tuning in, we'll let you know you are watching the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series presented by Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist here on Ghost Racing Network with the Green Ghost. I want to thank you all for coming out. It's going to be an exciting season for the FastTrack Cup Series. We saw a lot of great racing in the Clash last week. Can't wait to see what we're going to see tonight. And next week, boy, are we going to see something. Biggest race of the year, not just the season. But when you talk about Daytona, a win at Daytona in general, it's just so much different than winning anywhere else. Everybody seems to want it, but only few can get it, as there's just so many factors at these super speedway races. It takes a lot of skill to get up here to have a chance at them, but it takes a lot of luck to be able to finish it off sometimes. This is going to be Souza's lap right here. We'll see what kind of time he can put down. It looks like Jared Bundy currently tops the board. Kyle Oakley second. And now it's going to shuffle up a lot more. It does look like Souza is currently going to sit 11th on the board. Let's go take a look at someone else. How about Cody Matthews in the 10 car? Let's take a ride on board with him. Watch how steady he holds his wheel here down the backstretch and into turn 3. He's going to try to hug this yellow line. Notice the gear too. This is important. If we pull up this dashboard, you'll notice it on the bottom right. There is 5 gears in these next-gen cars. He's choosing to run 4th, though. A lot of guys do this in qualifying. Sometimes if there's no wind and you run absolutely perfect, you can gain a little bit more speed by being in 5th, but overall the safer strategy to run fast is going to be to run around in 4th. We'll see what kind of lap time he can put down. It looks like he is not going to be able to, from what I can see here, get himself in the top 10 right now. Looks like Cody Matthews puts himself 15th, now 17th rather on the board. Let's go see who else we got out on track here. Jared Bundy wrapped up his qualifying already. Looks like Brett Spade. Ryan Shiro now out on track. One of the drivers at a Shiro Motorsports camp. Splash and Go Graphics paint scheme. That's a good looking car. We'll see if he can get it in victory lane tonight. There is going to be 2 duels. And this is what's important about where you qualify here. Will you be in Duel 1 or Duel 2? I'll tell you what. If you did not qualify up here, you're not going to have a chance at the pole. I'm not sure if they're doing the setup. Actually, we can check out some of these things. We are going to go to a little break while they grid up just really quick, and then we'll be right back. But we'll let these guys finish up qualifying first. They're about 54 seconds left in qualifying. And you guys are going to hear me go quiet for just a minute here, as I'm going to set some things up, but I will be right back. We are back. You see the drivers just now finished up qualifying, and we are getting ready to grid up here for Duel 1. You see it's going to be 19 drivers in the first duel, 19 drivers in the second duel, and we will get to your starting grid in just a moment once everybody has got their car onto pit road and the pace car starts rolling. But before we get to that, let's talk about your race info here for Duel 1. It's the FastTrack Cup Series presented by the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist. We are at Daytona International Speedway, big 2.5 mile super speedway oval, heavy banking in the corners, long straightaway down the back and front with a tri-oval in between. It is going to be 2 duels tonight. Each race is going to be 30 laps, 100% fuel. These guys are going to have 3 sets of tires in the pits if they choose to use them. Not sure that they'll have to use all 3 though. No fast repairs. This is an open setup league, and there will be 3 green-white checkers if we were to need them. See if we got anybody gridding up just yet. You see the field here. Everybody loading in. Pace cars getting ready to go. And if you're just tuning in, get yourself a drink. Get comfortable. We got a lot of action tonight. The season's got to start somewhere, and it's going to start here at Daytona with the duels. We know how crazy Daytona can get. If you can get yourself out on the pole and start out in front for the big race, you're giving yourself a good chance. And a chance is all you need at tracks such as Daytona, Talladega. Some of these guys, super speedway specialists, we'll see as the season goes on. These super speedways, that will be their best tracks. So they know if they're going to perform, it's going to have to be at the super speedways. Maybe not as strong on some of the other smaller tracks, but the drivers now starting to roll off. So how about it? Let's get into your starting grid. Starting on the pole for Duel 1 tonight at the World Center of Racing is going to be Joshua Watson. We saw him take the win in the Clash last week, trying to continue and build off that momentum. Second is going to be Brian Watson. Third is going to be Carl Dotson. Fourth, Andrew Kotska. Fifth is going to be Scott Naisland. Sixth, Jerry Isaacs. Seventh, Sean Kaltenbach. Eighth is going to be Dave Sanders. Ninth, Ryan Hayes. 10th, Danny Gutierrez. 11th is going to be Richard Elliott. 12th, Ryan Shiro. Moving down the field, and 13th is going to be Jacob Musso. And rounding out row 7 is going to be Brett Spade on the outside. 15th is going to be Patrick Stein. 16th is going to be Nick. Looks like that is Gitchy, I do believe. Nick Gingy. We'll work it out as we go. Starting 17th, Kyle Oakley. 18th is going to be Andrew Ticko. And 19th is going to be, or Andy Ticko, excuse me. And 19th is going to be Cody Matthews in the 10 car. Get this out. Get ready to go here. Get you down to the first TV camera. Pace car rolling out of 4. Everybody's getting set up, getting ready to go. A couple things just to note before we get started. As you probably heard me on the race grid, they're still trying to get some of these guys' names down. They have told me, and I want them to keep telling me until we can get it right. We thank you for joining us. It's time to duel at Daytona. The pace car pulls off. Joshua Watson has the field, leads him into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out. Off the restart, it's a pretty dead even start between teammates Joshua Watson and Brian Watson. Big push, though, from that outside line. Looks like the 04 might get clear. We'll see if he decides to drop down. Doesn't as they work their way into turn 1. Everybody dicing around in the back for positions right now. The back stretch on the first lap, always where we see the most momentum. We got one blinking second row back. Seems to straighten itself up. On the top side, though, how about the run? We see the 01 jump to the top. Joshua Watson now has teammate Brian Watson behind him, but now on the inside, here comes Carl Dotson in the 29. Behind him, the 22, Scott Naisland, one of those new drivers. He's on a team, but hasn't been out here with these guys just yet. Doesn't seem to matter to him. He's going to get out here and try to ride up front for all 30 laps. These guys can make it all the way here in this duel. They won't have to pit unless there's a caution. So get in the track position early is key, especially if we were to have a wreck. Usually these guys will stay a little bit more calm as it is just a duel race, not as much on the line. But if we were to see any sort of wreck that brings out a caution, you're not going to want to come in if you are anywhere near that front pack. And we see this top lane really starting to get it going on the top. The 04 is sticking it to the 01. These guys have been tandeming now for a couple laps. You see how well it works in these next gens. 47, Andrew Kotska, third car on the top lane. We'll see if he decides to jump to the bottom. He is that third car clear. First non-teammate in that top line. Mad Sim Racing driver out of Welland, Ontario. But I think this is what we'll see. We see it in real life, and you see it a lot with these next-gen cars. Everybody kind of pulls to the top at Daytona. More speed, more momentum up top. Really hard for that bottom to get anything going unless they can really, really start to side draft and drag that outside line back, which I think we might see later in this run. But let's go farther back in the field, check on a couple of these guys that are not with the lead pack, and that would be Kyle Oakley and Cody Matthews. Not sure what happened. Maybe missed the initial start. But either way, they're going to need a caution to have any chance. Nick Kitchey up here. A couple spots in front of him is Patrick Stein in the 89. That's another Mad Sim Racing driver. He's looking for his teammate, and he's going to have to make up quite a few positions if he wants to get there. We got Jacob Musso. And I didn't notice if Jacob really had too many of his teammates in this one. Doesn't look like he's got a lot of them if he does. We have completed 4 laps so far here of the 30, and a little bit more calm than what we saw in the clash last week. These guys not pushing as hard. Still pushing hard, but everybody's cars look like they're handling pretty well. Sometimes we get these open setups instead of fixed. Certain cars really do link better than others. Not the case so far. Everybody linking together pretty good. Coming to lap 5. Let's do a crank it up here for Duel 1, the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. And that will do it for tonight's first segment of Crank It Up. Remember, Duels, there are going to be 2 races, so don't go anywhere after this one. We will have a second segment of it. But as always, I hope everybody did enjoy. Your current leader is still Joshua Watson, second. Brian Watson, third. How about this driver? He's making his way through the field. It's Danny Gutierrez in the 08. Fourth, Sean Colton Bach. And it looks like Andrew Kotska is actually going to steal that 4th spot. So now fifth, Andrew Kotska. 6th, Richard Elliott. But these guys shuffling around so much, the order won't seem to stay the same. But what hasn't shuffled around has been this lead. These guys worked so good together last week. Almost the same position at the end of the race with Brian Watson pushing his teammate Joshua Watson at the end to the win. And we'll see if he decides to do the same tonight. And if this 01 is able to win this race, he will be starting on the pole for the Daytona 250 next week. I know he'd be pretty excited about that one. Got a couple guys further back looking for position. Carl Dotson now going to jump to the bottom, but you just see the bottom hasn't really been pushing super hard to get there. And we're going to see 3 wide now. Carl Dotson's going to get stuck in the middle, and he is going to go all the way to the back if he can't find a spot in line. Not the best move this early for the 29, but on the straightaway, everybody should get around clean as we got one blinking on the outside. 77, Dave Sanders. Ooh, the 22. Got to be careful when you go 3 wide here. These cars shouldn't have too much of a handling issue until we hit around 10 to go. Then these tires, all of a sudden, not so grippy anymore, especially when these guys run this top lane if they decide to for the rest of this duel. Until the last couple laps, all of a sudden, they're going to go to shoot out of line. And those tires aren't going to be as grippy as they were at the start of this thing, and you see it now. The 01 is getting the field all lined up on the top. Looks like a train at Daytona. And this is where, as much as you like being the leader, if they decide to stay like this until the end, that 01 might be a sitting duck. They can generate a huge run on that top. Everybody will dive down low and try to get him. But let's ride on board with the 04, his teammate here, Brian Watson. Let's watch the job he can do here when he links up to his teammate in the 01. Gives him a big shot. How about we turn on the dashboard too in your bottom right? You can see the speeds these guys can get up to. Not pushing the issue right now. Again, if anybody watched the Podium 500, you might know this too, but yes, you can push in the corner and in the tribal with these next gens. You got to do it very smoothly, and sometimes you don't want to stay full throttle, but when these cars suck up to the back of each other and you link on, it is like that classic tandem we're so used to seeing at these super speedways. You can link up and absolutely fly. That's the cool thing with these next gens. You don't need 3-4 cars like in the other series. You can get one teammate with you. You guys can absolutely fly. Speaking of fly, that's what these two are doing right now. See if they pick up some more speed, a little bit more bumping as this race goes on. I would expect to see that. Let's take a look. These guys racing from the spotter view. See that bottom's trying to form again. Not sure how much progress they're going to be able to make right here. It's being led by Andy Ticko in the 65. And that is a Team Marble iRacing driver. Do believe he should have. Actually, looks like he does not necessarily have any of his teammates that I know of in here. Still trying to learn these teams just a little bit. Going to take a couple races getting used to. We already know some of these guys, though. Don't always have to rely on your teammates, though, here at tracks like Daytona. A lot of times, especially at the end of these things, you just look for who wants to go to the front the most. That's who you're going to link up with. Try to make as much progress as you can. And we are going to be coming to 19 to go in Duel 1 this time. The FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series, if you're just tuning in, you haven't missed much yet. Joshua Watson has been leading the entire race so far. The bottom continues to try to make progress, but they just haven't quite been able to yet. The 0-2 on the outside here. 77 tries to get a little bit of a side draft on him. Richard Elliott going to pull away with no issues, bringing along the 95 of Jacob Musso with him. Let's go back up front here. And I'll tell you what, this 0-4, not even thinking about making a move until we get to the end of this thing. I think if you're about 10th on back, once we hit 10 to go or less, you're going to have to start making moves. And you see some of these guys jumping out real aggressively in the turns. As this run moves on, you're not going to be able to do that. If you jerk the wheel on old tires in these cars, that thing will come right around, and there's just no saving it a lot of times. But how about your winner, though, last week? Joshua Watson kind of came out of nowhere, used a lap car who I believe was the 08 of Danny Gutierrez at the time. Used him extremely wisely. Didn't get too anxious. Used him as a pick. And remember, as hard as you can push in these cars, he pushed both of them clear the lead. Stayed up top. And they all started wrecking behind on the last lap. He didn't have to worry about it. Came to line with ease. His teammate finished second, also with a good run. Now we see the two-car Sean Kaltenbach starting to make his way back up. Not thinking about dropping down, though, just yet. Richard Elliott. We'll see if he decides to make any move if he gets a chance. Driver out of Little River Academy, JBR e-racing driver. And almost every driver in this series does have a team. A couple of new guys that may not have one yet, but they'll have one sooner or later. And finally, here we go. We see this bottom lane being led by Ryan Haynes in the 39. They are starting to make some progress now. The driver out of Center Hill, Florida, just about side by side with the 01. And he can thank that assist from Andrew Kotska in the 47, giving him a big push. Side by side at a turn 4. We will be coming to 16 to go this time. Patience very slowly but surely starting to wind down. We saw everybody think about maybe riding around the top for just a little bit. No more. They're all going to hop right back down. They're ready to get racy. Side by side stalls out a lot. That middle lane can be a blessing in disguise, but it can also hurt you if you don't use it right. You got to have help if you decide to take it 3 wide in the middle. But another strategy some of these guys may think about trying to do, and it can work effectively, but not the best thing if you're trying to make friends. Let me hold that thought. Look at the run by the 01 and the 04. Just absolutely pulling the field on the outside. That 39 got a huge shot from the 47, but he can only hold it so long before he's going to have to back up, let those temps cool down a little bit. That's what he had to do there. We saw them get all the way up there. Oh, and yellow flag is out. Looks like it is going to be Nick Kitchie in the 13 car. Oh, not sure what happened. But the driver of the 13's got some damage here. Oh, wow. Yeah, you see it, the right side of that thing in the front. Pretty banged up. He might have a little bit of suspension issues. And you hear him not running under full power right now. We'll have to see how he comes out. Remember, these guys don't have any fast repairs. So this could be a bad break, but I'll tell you what, let's go see what happened here to Nick before we make too many speculations, and brings out your first yellow flag of the night and first yellow flag of Duel 1. He's already in the grass right here. We'll actually back it up a little bit. And let's do the spotter view. See what happens. See him 13 on the top. That gray and black car, Liquid Death car. And he's on the top right here. And oh, it looks like he's going to get up into this wall. Jerks the wheel off of it, just trying to get off of it. And this is what we've talked about. Oh, but up front, further up, the 22 also has an issue, a bigger issue than this, actually. Oh, wow. Wow, that's a pretty big shot for the 12 of Brett Spot and the 20 of Ryan Shiro. Those guys are going to have some pretty big damage. Looks like the 22 might get away with this unscathed, but I can almost guarantee that's a broken toe link there for the 20. But let's back this up one more time. This was 3 wide for the first time we've really seen it tonight. And it didn't work out so well for these guys. 22. Oh, actually, not the 22. You saw it there. So the 12 and the 13 both get into the wall. Comes down into the 22. And they just kind of pile up from there. You saw the 13 also tag the wall. Let's go back live. Got a couple guys sitting on pit road. I think we would see a decent amount of the field decide to come down and take tires. Not a lot of takers just yet. We'll see who all decides to come down. But right now it's Brett Spade on pit road. So is Nick Kitchie. In the 13, Ryan Shiro, Scott Naisland, Cody Matthews, and Kyle Oakley, who we really haven't gave too much of a shout out to so far tonight. So how about the driver at Mount Juliet, Tennessee? FastTrack Cup Series driver. He is on a team. I may be on a team with Scott Naisland from what I've heard, but I'm not 100% sure on it. So I can't guarantee that part just yet. And let's go up front and talk about your top 5. Currently sitting in first is the 01 Joshua Watson. Second is teammate Brian Watson. Third is going to be Danny Gutierrez. Fourth, Ryan Haynes. Rounding out the top 5 right now is Sean Cottonbach in the 2 car. But you saw it there. Look at the first 3 here. JBR Racing, JBR Racing, JBR Racing. That's why we didn't see that 08 making any moves. And I'll tell you what, to have 3 guys all linked up at the front, that's got to give you a decent amount of confidence. Because you know neither of the 2 cars behind you are going to make a move unless they're trying to block. In which case, you're probably going to go to try to block with them. Going to be, see if we get the white or the one to go this time. Pace car is going to keep, nope, turns the lights off. So that means we will be going green with 12 laps to go. Just enough time for these guys to race it up a little bit more than they have so far. That last caution currently still has Nick Klitschy and Brett Spade in the pits. We'll see if either of them can recover. But looking like their chance at winning Duel 1 here at Daytona is going to be over. They will be starting in the back for the Daytona 250. Luckily, though, we did have under 40 cars tonight, just barely. So all these guys are going to be guaranteed in the big race. Got to be giving some of them a little bit more confidence, making them feel pretty good. And just a quick note, anybody out here that's watching, did try a little bit new things with my mic tonight. I am a little bit under the weather, so I do apologize if my voice is a bit more scratchy than usual. But let me know how everything's looking. We had a couple people say they enjoyed the broadcast. Looks like Elite Tyler, I believe that is, and Blue Jay. We appreciate you guys all coming out. If you like what you're seeing, whether it be the racing, the broadcast, or both, make sure you give us a like. It helps us out a lot. And if you're new, go ahead and hit the follow button. We certainly would appreciate it here at Ghost Racing Network, trying to grow the channel. And I'll tell you what, leagues like this one make it all that much more exciting to do the broadcasting role. And we'll see if the 01 and the 04 try to coordinate another restart right here. Didn't do it so much last time, but they were still able to find each other in line pretty quick. And I think the 04 may be thinking about letting the 01 down to the bottom. And if they can, they'll try to get all 3 of those JBR E-Racing teammates clear to jump to the top. Pace car is going to pull off. Field now creeping up to the Geico restart. Green flag is out. 12 laps to go here in Duel 1 at Daytona. Joshua Watson going to get a little side draft off his teammate, but they started dead even. I thought maybe they'd coordinate a little something. Not the case. The 01 trying to get clear before turn 1. Can't do it. Now he's going to get the 39 on his bumper, but down low now. Brian Watson looking to take the lead with teammate Danny Gutierrez behind him. Further back, we see the 2, Sean Kaltenbach. If he can get clear, will he jump high? Now the 39 trying to give a push. Ryan Haynes couldn't do it in time. Oh, and now the 2 throws a late block. He's going to get shuffled to the middle. He is going to go all the way back. The 0-2, that was Richard Elliott. Took him 3 wide into turn 3. Guys really moving around now. How about that move in the middle? Carl Dotson in the 29 jumps right in front of the 65. Up top, though, it's a 3-car breakaway right now. We'll see if the bottom can get a little bit more formed up this time. And about a 4-car breakaway now. You see the 47. He's got clear on the top. That's Andrew Kotska. We'll see if he decides to drop low. Now the 39 starting to make some headway. Ryan Haynes getting a push from Richard Elliott. Jacob Musso also trying to get up here to the front. Nobody dared to really jump out to that middle lane just yet. We saw the 2 try to block the bottom. Didn't work out. And you know what happened when he got shuffled to that middle lane? He fell all the way to the back. Now 3rd car from the back on that outside line. He's got a lot of ground to make up as we will be coming to 10 laps to go this time. But all of a sudden, here comes the charge from the inside. The 39 looking for the lead. He's not going to be able to get it, but that outside looked a little disorganized there for about a lap or 2. We'll see if they can get it back together. Brian Watson no longer has his teammate Joshua Watson pushing, but now he's got his other teammate in the 08, Danny Gutierrez, on his bumper. The 04's got to be a little careful. Some of these guys at the end. Oh, we see the 95. That's Jacob Musso jump up. Further back, a lot of contact. Here we go. They're wrecking. Caution is out. We got a couple guys in the wall. One sliding down to the inside wall. The 89's in it. The 29, Carl Dotson, is also in it. Ryan Shiro, the 65. How about the 20? Sorry, the 20, Ryan Shiro. Andy Ticko, though, in the 65, and it looks like he is just going to tow it. And let's go back and take a look at what brings out this yellow. Saw guys start getting a little dicey back here. All of a sudden, they weren't quite able to hold on to it. So we'll take a look at Carl Dawson, who's already lost it at this point. Ooh, this looks like 3 wide. Guy's not going to be able to create enough room. We saw the 29 making some powerful moves. Looks like he's going to try it here. Gets in the middle. Oh, a little contact with the 89. That bumps him up into the 51. And then they all get involved right here. 65's in at 89. The 13. Oh, that's Nick Kitchie. He's been involved in a couple wrecks tonight. Not going to escape this one either. Let's take one more shot at it. Let's actually look at this. Let's look at Carl Dotson one more time here from a different angle. Just not really enough room there. Gets turned around, and then they just all slide back up the track. Not a lot of room for a lot of these guys to really go anywhere. And that's the result, and this is going to make this final restart a lot more interesting. Let's go back live, though, up front. Let's go over your top 5. Brian Watson first, Ryan Haynes second, Danny Gutierrez third, 4th is Richard Elliott, and 5th is Jacob Musso. How about some of these guys in the pit? Brett Spade in the 12 got involved in a wreck earlier. He has not made his way back out. Andy Tico in the 65. He is still sitting on pit road. How about Nick Kitchie? Ryan Shiro in the 20. He's got some damage as well. These cars are, I've heard people refer to them as tanks. They can take damage a lot better than any of the other series. If you were an Xfinity or truck and you hit that outside wall, you're going to need to come in and you're going to need a fast repair if you hit that wall with any bit of force. These next gens, as long as you don't break a toe link, you can hit that wall pretty hard. And all you got to do is come in, repair about 30, 40 seconds of damage if you didn't break anything. And you can get back out here and still be competitive. We did have someone, Baron Labosco, say in the chat, Andy's last name is pronounced Tico. I do appreciate that. Thanks for letting me know. Trying to get everybody's last names right as quick as we can. You guys let me know helps out. We will see if the teammates decide to race here. I thought maybe they'd organize a little quicker last time. They weren't able to, but now this time they're not going to be 1, 2, 3. They're going to have Ryan Haynes and Richard Elliott, along with Jacob Musso, all separating them. So we'll see what JBR E-Racing can do. On the other side of it, though, you got drivers such as Richard Elliott. Well, Richard Elliott actually is a JBR Racing driver, but Jacob Musso, Ryan Haynes, these two, they're on different teams. They don't have any teammates with them right now, so they are trying to go for the win. Got to be careful what moves you decide to do here, though. Don't want to get hung in that middle. However, I do think you could gain some ground hopping in that middle, but you're going to have at least 2 to 3 guys go with you. That inside has checkups. Even the top sometimes has checkups. If you're on that bottom when those checkups occur, you can make up a lot of spots real quick. Further back, some of these guys that we haven't seen making their way to the front too much right now, as we see a couple drivers going laps down. One of them is going to be Nick Kitchie, 2 laps down. And it looks like Andy Tico and Brett Spade have potentially just retired for the race. Other than that, though, 16 cars still on the lead lap. Not too bad. 23 laps into a 30-lap duel at Daytona. We know how much chaos Daytona can bring, and all these guys trying to get a feel. And I'll tell you what, even if you get in that last wreck, you still want to get yourself back out here. Get as much experience as you can because you're going to need it next week. That race is a lot longer. These two are going to catch the field. Pace car did turn the lights off, so we will be going green this time. Cody Matthews, he's been sitting back for a little bit, maybe trying to avoid some of those wrecks that we saw, but I think it's go time now. Kyle Oakley, we'll see if those two decide to hook up. Sean Kaltenbach, Jerry Isaacs, Andrew Kotska, everybody outside the top 5, you got to go now if you want to do it. If you're in that top 5, I think you're trying to maybe pull away from this group. But I would not be surprised. We're either going to see these guys really get racy, or we might even see them all try to line the field up on that top lane. Tell you what, if the group gets in a line, you do not want to be the only one to go down low. If you're going to drop down low, you better have some help, because if you don't, you are going to the back in a hurry. We will see if Brian Watson can hold it off. Secure the win here in Duel 1 at Daytona. If you're just tuning in, don't forget we got Duel 2 coming up shortly after this. It will be on the same broadcast here. Drivers will grid up for that. Get ready to go. Before we get to Duel 2, we're going to have to crown a champ for Duel 1, the 39, Ryan Haynes. He's been very aggressive tonight. He's going to line up on the outside row. Brian Watson on the inside row. Second row made up of Danny Gutierrez and Jacob Musso. Pace car rolls off. It's going to be 6 laps to go. Green flag is back out in the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. The 04 gets a big shot from his teammate, Danny Gutierrez. That outside, the 39 got a good start but didn't get any help. That's going to allow the 04 and the 08 to jump up top. Sure enough, they do, entering turn 1. Now the bottom opens up to Jacob Musso in the 95. We'll see if he can get enough of a charge to get all the way out front. Off of turn 2, everybody still side by side. No 3 wide move just yet, but the back stretch right now is getting a big run. We'll see, but here comes the inside. They broke up. Jacob Musso trying to get a side draft on the 4 into turn 3, though. They hold dead even for this moment. This is going to come down to who can push harder out of turn 4. 77, Dave Sanders saw him in the back earlier. Here he is trying to push the 95 to the lead. But on the outside, Danny Gutierrez, Brian Watson trying really hard. You see the side draft he tried to get on the 95. And let me tell you something, the side draft works really effectively, especially in these cars. Richard Elliott thinking about taking the 39. Ryan Haynes 3 wide, thinks twice about it. Ooh, the 04 fell off. He's got to be real careful bumping him right here. The 95 and the 77 are going to get clear on the backstretch. We'll see if they decide to jump high. Jacob Musso still sitting pretty on the bottom. He's got the 77. Dave Sanders behind him. Now these two right in the middle. We'll see if they decide to migrate up. The 77 going to get a little bit of air for that nose while he can. That top lane really just not linking up like they were earlier. The 08 and the 04 not able to tandem as hard as they'd like to right now. We are coming to 4 laps to go this time. Now the 08 gets back on the bumper. The 04, big push down the short chute. Brian Watson gets clear. We'll see if he decides to drop down this time. No, he's trying to stick with his teammate, Danny Gutierrez. They could both get clear. Maybe now they'll think about dropping to the bottom. Nothing yet, though. The 77 got to be getting a little hot. And now we see the 08 give another big push. These lanes starting to get a lot more organized all of a sudden. Oh, the 04 blinking a little bit up front. That's going to check up that outside just a little bit. Sean Kaltenbach. See him in the Team Watson Racing 2 machine. Maybe thinking about 3 wide here, taking it with Richard Elliott further back. I think these guys are going to start thinking about it. Here we go. Ryan Haynes is going to jump to the bottom line. He wants a chance to fight for the lead. Remember, if we make it to the white flag under green, it'll be no more cautions. We're going to have to go around 2 more times, though, before we can do that. All of a sudden, this top looking a lot faster than it did a couple laps ago. They get clear by 3, now 4 car lengths. Will anyone else decide to drop down? Richard Elliott, Sean Kaltenbach may be able to work together here, but Richard Elliott is one of those JBR teammates, maybe just going to stick up here with his teammates. Oh, we see a little bit of a check up off for the 01, gives a huge shot to Sean Kaltenbach. And this bottom just starting to fall apart. We see the 17 Kyle Oakley now going to also drop to the bottom. He's going to see if him and Ryan Haynes can get something going up top. The top 4 now right in the middle. They don't know which lane they want to pick. Back up top they go. I'll tell you what. You got 3, almost 4 lined up. Now we're going to see a move to the outside. That's going to be the 2 Sean Kaltenbach. Who's going to go with them? It looks like the 0-1 Brian Watson's going to follow. 3 by 3 down the backstretch. These leaders like what they're seeing. The more they race back here, the better the chances for that 08 and the 04. On the bottom, though, is Kyle Oakley. Middle lane, Richard Elliott. Up top is Brian Watson. Oh, the 39, Ryan Haynes. He gets turned around back in the middle of the pack. Caution is out. Big hit for the 39. That car is destroyed. We got guys still spinning up here. The 77, Dave Sanders. And oh, he was having such a good night. The 95, Jacob Musso, also in it. We saw him fighting for the lead. Not what we wanted to see here. With 3 laps to go, these guys were so close. It was actually 2 laps to go. It would have been the white flag that time. Got 3 wide, and they just couldn't quite make it back. But let's see exactly what went wrong here. Brought out a 3rd caution of Duel 1 here. This is going to start a little farther back here. Let's take a look at Jacob Musso. Oh, and this is going to be a case of pushing in a bad spot. You see it there on the 39's bumper. So we'll actually back it up just a little bit for you. Go to TV3. We'll go to TV1 here. And you'll see what he does here. 39 washes up just a little bit. The 95 tries to give him a bump, but that's going to get him a little offset on the left side. And that just sends the 39 around. Tries to save it, but it's just so hard to save these cars. Back up hard into the outside wall. You see the back of the car lift up a little bit. And then that's just going to send a bunch of these guys scattering, trying to find a way to miss a wreck, but you really can't at this point. 77 gets into the 89, nowhere to go. The 10 looks like he might scoot it away with just minimum damage. So did the 47. Andrew Kotska, nice job avoiding it. And the 89's going to T-bone the 95 pretty hard right there. That's going to do a little bit more damage. And then you see the 20 further back. Ryan Shiro may be able to get through this without any damage as well. So let's go back live where we are going to go into overtime. But remember, we have 3 green-white checkers. Hopefully we're not going to have to use all 3, but currently sitting in first position is going to be Brian Watson. 2nd, Danny Gutierrez. 3rd is going to be Sean Kaltenbach. 4th, Richard Elliott. And rounding out the top 5 is going to be Joshua Watson. So JBR looking pretty dominant. They did have a lot of drivers in this heat. You see it there, Richard Elliott, one of them. Danny Gutierrez, another one. And Brian Watson, your current leader, one of them. But Sean Kaltenbach, he's going to have something to say about it here for Team Watson Racing. Carl Dotson, Power Esports, Kyle Oakley. He doesn't have a team, so he might be looking to work with that 29 car. And I'll tell you what we're going to do real quick, if we can, as they're coming to one to go. We might see if we can go get an interview here with your current leader and Brian Watson. I think that's what we're going to go ahead and do, so I'll be right back. Well, the pace car, not going to be going green this time. We will, however, be going green next time. All right, let's go see if we can drag in current first place sitter. All right, and I have found your current first place sitter right now, the 04, Brian Watson. Brian, you got a copy?
I do.
Well, we'll let you go here. We'll just try to interview you real quick. You are kind of quiet. We'll have to see how you sound on stream. But what's it going to take to get this thing done, man, and get the win here in Duel 1?
A lot of cooperation between me and my teammates. It's what it's going to take. We're sitting up here in the top, all of us in the top 5. And, yeah, just a lot of communication and, yeah.
All right, cool. Well, we'll let you go because I know you guys are about to get green, but good luck, and hopefully you can finish this thing off.
Thank you. We're excited to try to finish this off. Yep.
All right. That is your current first place. The 04, Brian Watson will let him get back to his team. We'll actually try to put him back down there so we don't mess him up too much. One of the cool things we can do with Discord is drag people up to the broadcast booth, and we'll work on that and get it more effective as the season goes on. But this is going to be the first green-white checkered. Someone said things are getting interesting. Couldn't agree more. We'll see who's going to get the win here in Duel 1, who wants it the most. How much are you willing to risk? Do you risk getting your car wrecked, going for the win? I think you do. Something about Daytona, we talked about it earlier. No other track I personally would rather win at. Doesn't matter if it's a duel, a fun race, or the big race next week. I want to win it. We'll see if the 04 can win it. Green flag is back out. Dead even restart this time. It's going to be a drag race down into turn 1. Richard Elliott giving a big push to the 08 of Danny Gutierrez, but the 2 of Sean Kaltenbach. He's also stacked up on the bottom. Now the top falls off just for a second. And this 2 car has linked up. Now the 04 decides to go to the top. What will Brian Watson do? A little bit of a stack up top. The 29 Carl Dotson going to go to the middle. Oh, there's contact further back. They're wrecking on the backstretch. Yellow flag is back out. The 10 slides. Everybody trying to dodge the 95 hard into the wall. Oh, he dives down into another driver. That was a hard hit. I couldn't tell who exactly that was. May have been Nick Kitchie. Oh, and we saw what looked like was going to be 4 wide. Guys not giving and taking anymore. And that's going to bring out a 4th caution. This thing's starting to get a little messy here all of a sudden at the end. Starting to clean out a lot of guys. Let's take a look at this one. TV1 so we can see what happens here. This already has started. So this is going to start. We saw the 29 Carl Dotson make an aggressive move. Looked like he had it. But then we saw Sean Kaltenbach try to get up and block it. Unfortunately, though, I don't think he was quite clear. Let's see where this is going to start. Because you see he's already turned around here. And let's actually look from the blimp. I think this is going to give us a better idea. Yep. Back it up because they're already wrecked right here. So you saw that stack up start to occur on the outside. The bottom not really linked up here. The 29 Carl Dotson jumps to the middle right here. Then the 2 is going to try to block it just a little late. Hesitates on it. Contact is made. 29 spins around. Gets into a couple of these guys. We saw some of the other guys such as Jacob Musso get involved. Tried to avoid it. Couldn't though. The 65 looks like is going to sneak by. That's Andy Tico. And with the guys that were sitting back, they're also going to get back in it. Man, I'll tell you what, you know who has had a rough night is the driver of the 13 so far, Nick Kitchie. He is hoping this thing could maybe change around. But I'll tell you what, bad luck this week doesn't mean bad luck next week. That is just the nature of the beast at these restrictor plate tracks. And the 65, that is Andy Tico. He has big damage to the right front of that car. Nice butt kicker sponsor. Good looking basic paint scheme. Don't always see guys. A lot of times we see these fancy paint schemes. Good to see a simple one though that looks good. Dave Sanders looks like he's got a little bit of damage. So I think he was the one that got T-boned by Jacob Musso, who was trying to avoid the wreck. Cody Matthews still sitting back here. Been able to avoid any major damage. Carl Dotson, he's been involved in a couple of them tonight. The driver for Powers Esports. Jerry Isaacs, haven't really talked about Jerry. He's just been kind of sitting in the middle of everything in the 51 car. But he might go for this thing at the end. I'll tell you what, at this point, I think this is just about anybody's race. If you really want it, you might as well go for it. What do you have to lose? It looks like we have someone in the chat asking if it was a late block on the 29 Baron Labosco. That is what it looked like. Actually, it didn't look like. Yes, sorry, I read that wrong. But yes, it did look like it was a late block on the 29. And actually, while we're sitting here under caution, we can take one more look at it. We'll show you from the 29's cockpit. Carl Dotson. Just a little bit of a late block. I don't know if it was a miscommunication necessarily, but either way, it looked like a little bit of a late block. We'll back this up a little bit more where initially it's going to start here because you'll see Carl Dotson make a nice through wide move here. I like this aggression. Jumps to the middle. It's getting squeezed. That 2 comes up. And I think Carl felt like, you know, I'm here now, man. If you're going to come up to block, you're going to have to take the shot I give you. I always felt like the general super speedway rule, especially late in these races, a lot of people say no blocking. Here's how I feel about blocking. If you're going to block, I think you take the block, which is kind of what we saw here. I'm not dissing on anybody here, but I think when you block, let's say you go up to the top lane, you go up to the top, and if that guy has a head of steam late in a race, he's not going to let off, and he shouldn't have to. If he gives you a nice solid bump, you take the bump, you keep it square, you keep that car under control, then I think he's got to let off. He's got to say, all right, you hit my block, now I'm going to push you. If he gives you a shot and you're not really lined up for it and you spin around, may have been a late block, but I think not necessarily a late block by the two. They just didn't really square up too nicely when the two came up, so I'm not really going to put that one on anybody's fault, but the pace car does have the lights off. We're getting ready to go green this time for the second green-white checkered in the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series Duel 1 at Daytona. And the 04 trying to hang on. This race really only had two main leaders so far tonight, Brian Watson and Joshua Watson. A couple guys have taken the lead for a short period besides that, but those two pretty much dominated. We will let y'all know if you're just tuning in a couple things. Don't forget Duel 2 coming up right after this. Also, if you like what you're seeing tonight, either the racing or the broadcast or both, make sure you hit that thumbs up like button. It helps us out, lets us know you guys are enjoying it. And if you're new, make sure you follow us. We're trying to hit 500 subs as soon as possible. Who's going to lay it all on the line here? Still 4 teammates up front, both first and second row. Good luck getting around JBR E-Racing right now, but we'll see if anyone can do it. Carl Dotson been very aggressive so far tonight. Look for him to make his way up here. Pace car pulls off into the Geico restart zone. Green flag back out for overtime number 2. The 08, Danny Gutierrez gets a good start. Doesn't have help from his teammate, though, and Joshua Watson. So right now, Brian Watson and Richard Elliott have linked up. They're going to try to pull away as we work our way into turn 1. And you see that inside really tandem up right now. But this outside still making speed. And if the 01 can get to the bumper, the 08, they're going to make a lot of headway here down the backstretch. The 02 really pushing on Brian Watson right now. Still can't get out in front, though. If we take the white flag, remember, no more cautions. Into turn 3, the 08, Danny Gutierrez now falling back. The 04 takes the lead. Will he stay there or does he try to go high? Further back now we see Carl Dotson, 3 wide in the middle. Guys falling back. They don't want to be in this main pack. Here we go. One more time around Daytona. White flag in the air. Brian Watson still holding the lead. Danny Gutierrez trying everything he can. Brian Watson pushing up top the 22. Scott Naslin, will he try to make a move? You see a couple of these guys further back. They're going to try to line up for a run. One of them being Carl Dotson. I don't know if he's going to have enough time or help to get back up here, though. Everybody still staying 2 by 2 as we work our way down the backstretch for the final time. And this might come down to who can push harder out of turn 4. The inside now has the advantage. Will the 04 think about going up top? Further back, a couple guys trying to make a run. Not enough time off turn 4. Here we go, Richard Elliott. He's got to push from the 02. Stays low. Now the top. Here comes a run from the 08. Danny Gutierrez. No competition. Brian Watson wins Duel 1 at Daytona. What a drive. What a finish from the driver of the 04 JBR E-Racing. And he can thank his teammate. Came home second, Richard Elliott, for that. What a finish. See if Brian Watson decides to burn it down here. Got a little sloppy there at the end, but they sure kept it clean on that white flag lap. Saw a couple guys sticking back. They just couldn't really get a run and didn't have anything for all 4 JBR E-Racing teammates who did indeed finish 1, 2, 3, 4. Very impressive. And that is now back-to-back for JBR E-Racing. So going into the Daytona 250 next week, if I had to bet on someone, I think I'm going to put my money on one of these drivers. But that is going to wrap it up. And now we're going to get ready to set the grid here for Duel 2. But before we do that, well, these guys all decide to get on the pits. Let's go ahead and go over your results for Duel 1. Finishing first was Brian Watson in the 04. Second, his teammate Richard Elliott. Third, another JBR E-Racing teammate, Sean Kaltenbach. Sean Kaltenbach was not a JBR teammate, at least I don't believe. 4th is going to be Danny Gutierrez. 5th, Joshua Watson. 6th, Kyle Oakley. 7th, Scott Naslin. 8th, Jerry Isaacs. 9th, Carl Dotson. 10th, Cody Matthews. 11th is going to be Ryan Shiro. 12th, Patrick Stein. 13th, Andrew Kotska. 14th, Andy Tico. 15th, Dave Sanders. 16th, Nick Kitschy. 17th, Jacob Musso. And rounding out the field, 18th is going to be Ryan Haynes. And 19th, Brett Spade. So it looks like it may not have been a 1, 2, 3, 4. I did mess that up just a little bit. But again, still learning some of these guys' teams. Getting used to everybody. And now the second field on their warm-up lap. They're getting ready to go here at Daytona. Let's take a look at your starting grid for duel number 2. Starting in first is going to be Alan Pajari taking the pole. Second is going to be Tracy Powers. Third place is going to be Cody Richardson. Fourth, Jeffrey Souza. Fourth is going to be Bill Benedict the third. Fifth, Johnny McCulchek. Sixth, Jeffrey Souza. Seventh, Jeff Shutt. Eighth, Tyler Marble. Ninth is going to be Jared Bundy. And rounding out row 5 is going to be Austin Fitzgerald in 10th. 11th is going to be Tody Graham. 12th, Eddie Musso Jr. Looks like we're going to have a couple more Mussos in this heat than we did the last one. 13th is going to be Matthew Gearinger. 14th, Joe Musso. 15th, Jeff Marble. 16th is going to be Glenn Grigsby. 17th, Cody James. 18th, Jacob Madison. And rounding out Duel 2 and 19th is going to be Brian Conklin in the 37 car. Take a quick look at your race info just in case you missed it there. Before the start of Duel 1, we are at Daytona International Speedway. It's the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series presented by Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist. Duel 2, same format, 30 laps, 100% fuel, 3 sets of tires, no fast repair, open setups. We will see who is going to come home a winner here and get themselves set up on the outside row for the Daytona 250. Tracy Powers starting second on that outside row. Who's going to get the better restart? Alan Pajari. We saw how fast he was last week. Green flag is out for Duel 2. That inside got a good start with the first 2 cars. The 46, Cody Richardson, trying to push the 34 of Alan Pajari. But that top lane looks like they're going to get the momentum early. Tracy Powers and the 90 of Bill Benedict the third. They have lined up nicely. We'll see. The racing in this group is a little bit more aggressive or a little bit more calm than what we saw in that last race. 30 laps, a decent way to go here, but we saw the first caution in that last race came late in the tire run. These guys were starting to get a little slick. Tires didn't have as much grip. 3 wide moves weren't successful all of a sudden. But that outside, unlike that first race, not the dominant lane here early and leading your first lap. Looks like is going to be Alan Pajari, but no, he jumps up. The first lap is going to go to Cody Richardson in the 46. He's got Tyler Marble behind him. Boy, didn't take Tyler long to get up here, did it? Driver out of Buffalo, New York. Team Marble iRacing going to have a couple teammates in this race. One of them is going to be Jeff Marble, who we see sitting back here in the 15 Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist Racing Machine. And Alan Pajari jumping to that top lane. Maybe not the smartest decision. I'll tell you what, this field a lot more spread out. What we saw in that first duel. You see on your track map, everybody's still together in this main pack. We didn't have anybody miss the restart. Glenn Grigsby currently the last car in the pack in the 64, and he needs to be a little careful here. These next gens, it is a lot easier to lose the draft, and you do not want to lose it because you will not be able to get it back. And they run about 15 to 20 miles an hour faster. We saw almost 200 there for a second from the 64. How about Cody Graham? Musso Speed Shop. Jared Bundy, Fast Track Cup Series driver. Another Team Marble iRacing driver, Brian Conklin, in the 37. Right in front of him is the 96 of Jeffrey Souza. But up front, still all Cody Richardson. We saw him lead the first lap, and he's led since. We're still waiting to see if that top lane can get any momentum going. Nothing just yet. I think it's time for a Duel 2 crank it up at Daytona. Here we go. that is going to do it for tonight's second segment of Crank It Up. I hope everybody did enjoy the double Crank It Up action. Up front, it's still the 46, Cody Richardson. Second, Tyler Marble. Third, Austin Fitzgerald. Fourth is going to be Alan Pajari. And rounding out the top 5 right now, it's going to be Johnny I forgot how he told me to say his last name. We're practicing it. 6th place, Jeff Shutt. 7th, Tracy Powers. 8th is going to be Matthew Gearinger. How about the run, though, here from the 72 of Mikulchek? He's trying to get his way up here. I think if he gets clear, he may think about jumping to the top because they are starting to finally get some momentum going. Just took a minute, apparently, for the 25 and the 34 to find a little chemistry, but they have found it. If that outside gets going, it's a dangerous, dangerous line to get going. Last race, we saw everybody try to line up on the top lane. Wasn't really the case this race. Was a little surprised about it, actually. Caution is out. Oh, no, what happened? Oh, we got one in the wall. Looks like it is going to be Jacob Madison in the 79. Glenn Grigsby, not sure if he was involved. Cody Graham, looks like he may have a little. Actually, Cody may not have been, but yeah. Looks like Jacob Madison and Glenn Grigsby are going to be involved in this. Not sure what happened with these guys, so let's go find out what brings out your first yellow of the night. Ooh, contact already being made here. This is in the short shoe. These guys are actually behind the pack. Not sure if they were trying to catch up or what happened here. But let's see if we can figure it out. 64 jumps high. That's Glenn Grigsby. Oh, 79. That is Jacob Madison. Not clear. Going to pull up. Tries to make a block. Just a little late on it, though. That's a pretty big wreck. You see the sparks flying. Let's take one more look at it. Back it up a little farther. How about we look at this from TV1, TV2. Here we go. This ought to give you a pretty good idea of it. See, the 64 goes high. Looks like he was going to get a little help even. 79 is going to try to block his run. You'll see him dart up, just not there, too late. They make contact, and this turns the 79 and the 65. Big hit. I know it may not look like the hardest hit, but you see it here. Look at the sparks flying out behind the 64. That is major suspension damage. That might be a night ender for Glenn Grigsby. Let's play it through. You can see it here. Yep. Oh, that thing is destroyed. Looks like he's got a broken toe link on the left and maybe also the right side. Oh, yeah, that thing is done. Tires aren't even rolling. That is going to end Glenn Grigsby's chances at going for one of the top rows of the Daytona 250 next week. Luckily, though, he is still guaranteed in. Let's go back live where your current leader is Cody Richardson. 2nd, Tyler Marble. 3rd, Austin Fitzgerald. 4th, Alan Pajari. And rounding out the top 5 is Johnny Mikulchek. No Excuses Racing. I'll tell you what, I like that team name a lot. Looks like he did have the Capitol Auto Group sponsor up top. They will be introduced here later. Got a couple races coming up. The No Bull 5. We haven't really talked about that just yet, but that's something to note. Going to be 5 races where drivers will race it out. Kind of like the Dash for Cash. They'll have a chance to earn some money. And it starts next week, I do believe, with the Daytona 250. We'll be happy to have Capitol Auto Group on board for that. Bill Benedict III, driver out of Archdale, North Carolina, currently sitting just outside the top 5. Eddie Musso Jr. and Joe Musso, those are 2 teammates. And I think they could have maybe moved up if they wanted, but I think they're just sitting where they're at right now. Wait until the end. They want to make sure they're together so when it's time to go, they don't have to worry about finding each other. And right behind them, Jeff Marble came so close to winning the Clash last week. Didn't work out. Made a move a little too early. Behind him, Jared Bundy in the 6 car. 12th, Cody James. 13th, Brian Conklin. 14th, Cody Graham. Matthew Gearinger. Tracy Powers in 16th. Pace car should be turning the lights off this time around. That means we will go green next time. It's going to be a 20-lap to go shootout. We did not see either duel go green with the caution coming out here pretty early in this one. The other one we saw, these guys go a bit longer before that first caution fell. But after that, it started to get a little messy. We'll see if these guys can maybe keep it a little bit cleaner. Tyler Marble going to be starting on that outside this time. We'll see if he can take advantage of it. Going to have a strong pusher and Alan Pajari behind him. Couple quick reminders. Not sure if it will still be going on, but if you guys are just kind of tuning back and forth, Bryce, the other Ghost, the owner actually, but the red Ghost, for reference, currently has a super speedway race that he's broadcasting on the same channel for NOMA. So if this race ends early and you want to go check it out, make sure you head on over there. Show Bryce some support. For us here at Ghost Racing Network, more than proud to be broadcasting the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series presented by the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist. A lot of potential in all these drivers. We see it. When I joined this lobby last week, I saw the iRatings, and then I saw the racing. I knew these guys know how to get it done. Very aggressive group, a very clean group. We saw some of these drivers in the Podium 500, or at least in the journey to the Podium 500. And that's not an event that you just go and enter if you don't have what it takes. Podium 500 was the other day. Was able to finish 6th in it. Pretty happy about that one. Saw some of these guys around out there. It's good to see them out there. Big event. But you know what else is a big event? The Daytona 250 next week. And we are trying to figure out what the front row is going to look like for that event. Tyler Marble on the outside. Cody Richardson on the inside. Green flag is back out. Ooh, the 74 did not get the best jump. Austin Fitzgerald falling back, but that outside sure did stack up. Bill Benedict, Alan Pajari, and Tyler Marble going to get clear with no problems as they work their way into turn 1. Looks like the 48 wastes no time dropping to the bottom. I think I maybe would have waited a little longer. It doesn't have any help right now. This is going to allow the 34 to get clear with some ease. Down the backstretch, you see the 94 really trying to get the 90 of Bill Benedict up there. Eddie Musso now going to jump to the bottom. Doesn't have his teammate, though, anywhere around. Oh, almost a late block there from Alan Pajari. That would not have ended well. Smart move there, though. Veteran move from the driver of the 34. Doesn't want to get anyone taken out too early. We do have a Lego car. Funny, nice-looking paint scheme right there. Bill Benedict is going to be your new leader. He leads the field to 19 to go this time. That outside, though, still being led by Alan Pajari. We'll see if anyone jumps up. Sure enough, here goes Tyler Marble. Trying to get a run as they work their way into turn 1. It looks like he is going to get a little help from Cody Richardson, who we saw leading that last run. Alan Pajari now tags on to the third car in line on that outside. The inside falling back here. Big run from the outside. Look at the dashboard. The speeds, 195, 96. And they get clear by 4 car lengths. The inside just fell apart. Alan Pajari is going to duck to the low side. Tyler Marble going to try to cover it. He does. He leaves his tandem partner of Cody Richardson on the outside by himself. The 46 now going to have to wait for some help before he's able to make his way back up here. Further back, let's see how some of these guys fared out. You see Glenn Grigsby, as we talked about, big damage to the suspension. His race is over. Matthew Gearinger has also retired from the race. Jared Bundy, currently the last car in this pack, making up 17 cars still in the race and on the lead lap. Remember, we did start with 19, where it looks like we are going to see another move, or at least what he thought about was a move from Jeff Marble. Thinks twice about it, trying to find his teammate's bumper, Tyler Marble, but on the outside. Here comes Eddie Musso Jr. in the 94, going to try it on the outside instead of the inside this time. He now has help from Cody Richardson. Got the 91 here of Cody Graham. Third car in line, slowly creeping his way up here. The driver out of Liverpool, New York. I am still shocked at just how powerful this inside lane has been in this second duel. Almost just a complete flip-flop of what we saw in Duel 1. That top lane, usually dominant. I think it may be dominant next week in the Daytona 250. But tonight it sure hasn't been. 48, though, Tyler Marble still continues to lead on the bottom. Alan Pajari is lined up behind him. The 15, Jeff Marble. The 21, Cody James. 90 of Bill Benedict behind him. How about Cody James? If he wants to make a move, it's going to be open, but if he waits too late, he might have to contend with the 90 of Bill Benedict, who's going to get a shot right here from the 94 off turn 4. We will be coming to 16 laps to go this time. These guys not getting as racy as I think we'll see him at the end. Haven't seen much, if any, 3 wide so far in Duel 2. We saw a lot of it, especially at the end of Duel 1. Didn't work out, though. Remember, all these drivers had the chance to, and I promise you they were watching Duel 1. And they learn. They see certain things. They learn from it. They make sure they don't repeat it. I think some of the incidents they saw being caused by all the 3 wide in Duel 1, they decided, hey, guys, maybe let's save that for that white flag lap. No more cautions can fly anyway on that last lap. Won't matter. Tyler Marble, though, looking really strong. I know it's the draft is the great evener at tracks like Daytona, but remember, with open setups, everybody on a different playing field. Sometimes certain cars just a little bit faster than others, and I'll tell you what, that 48 looks real fast out front. Certain cars better at leading, certain cars better at pushing. Last week in the Clash, I'll tell you who was a good pusher. This man right here, the driver, the number 15 alloy wheel repair specialist Chevrolet, excuse me. Or sorry, the Ford. Oh my goodness, but either way, it is Jeff Marble. One of the owners of FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. But he was a strong pusher last week. Actually, I thought he was going to wait to make his move until the last lap because he was so good at pushing. I thought he could push the guy out, side draft him back, maybe take the lead. Decided to do it early. Didn't quite work out for him. Didn't have enough help. That outside still trying to build, but the outside, you see it, the first 4 cars on that inside, a little bit more organized right now. They are tight together on the outside, but just a lot more bobbing and weaving going around than you want to see. They are slowly but surely making some headway here. Doesn't matter how many laps you lead if you don't lead the last one. But Tyler Marble still leading the way here at Daytona. Alan Pajari second. And I remember what I saw. Alan Pajari doesn't really have a big team. He may have had one more teammate or no other teammates. From what I saw in pre-race, it doesn't seem to matter. We saw him out front or in the top 5 a lot in the Clash last week. And here he is, either out front or in the top 3 so far tonight in the Duels. Duel 1 winner we saw was Brian Watson. Haven't seen any JBR drivers in this heat, and if they are, I haven't seen them up front yet. Tracy Powers, driver of the 25, started on the outside line. He's fallen back a little bit, still waiting to see if he can work his way back up. Jacob Madison involved in that first incident. He's been sitting back since. Matthew Gearinger thought maybe he decided to come back on track, but he is still in the pits, unfortunately. Bill Benedict, 3 wide. Looks like Bill Benedict actually got in the wall a little bit in that 90 car. No incident, keeps it together. A little bit of a moment there for the 90. I think he's going to be able to keep the draft. And this time now, everybody's starting to tuck in line on the bottom. Sometimes that top isn't working or vice versa. The bottom isn't working. Everybody just kind of bails out of it, drops down. And that's looking like the case right now. Top lane starting to try to form back up. Off at turn 2, though. It's still all the 48 of Tyler Marble, Alan Pajari. Tell you what, Alan has one of my favorite paint schemes and sponsors here. The Big Gut paint scheme. And he is giving a push to the 48 down the backstretch into turn 3. Wind not a factor tonight. They didn't enable it. It's probably for the best. These cars now at that point where if you didn't take tires under that caution, slowly but surely it's going to start to become a little bit more and more of a handful. This 34 starting to test the waters just a little bit with the 48. At the end of this, further back, hold that thought, further back. The 96, Jeffrey Souza, looked like he washed up a little bit. Maybe was following the 72, Johnny Mikulchek. And boy, that got a little close for a second. Everybody seems to be okay, though. Austin Fitzgerald working his way back up through the field. But as I was saying here, the 34 is seeing how hard he can push right now. Because if he can push as hard as he wants late in this race when he really needs to, what he'll do is he'll get right to the back bumper of that 48. And they will tandem. And I'm not just talking about on the straightaways. If they need to, they'll do it through the turns, through the triable. Whatever you got to do to stay out in front. If you can get linked up with that guy in front of you on the last lap, you might be able to create enough gap where even if there is a run behind you, there's just not enough time for them to catch you. Got to manage your temps, though, until that point. This outside, though, they're not worried about managing temps. They're worried about getting to the front, currently being led by Eddie Musso Jr. Then looks like Cody Graham in the 6. Jared Bundy. There's one. Oh, we got contact further back, the 79. It's Jacob Madison, the 90. Bill Benedict's in it, the 27. Jeff Shutt. We didn't even talk about Jeff today, hoping to see him up there. This is not what he wanted to see, though. Another driver for No Excuses Racing. Let's go back. See what happened here in turn 3. And this is going to give us a restart within 10 to go. So things are about to get really, really wild. Let's go see what brings out your second caution of the night. Ooh, and you see the 79 is already out of shape on the top lane. So that is probably where this is going to start. We'll back it up a little bit. On old tires, let me tell you something. On old tires, you got to have a lot of throttle control in these cars. Not only do they get loose, but open setups, a little different than fixed setups. Some of these guys might have been running a certain camber, certain something, just to make themselves a little bit faster, but then late in the tire run, not working out too well. Let's take a look. Oh, you see the 79 washes up, tries to keep it out of the wall, just turns down a little too hard. Comes right down into Jeffrey Souza, who had nowhere to go in that 96 machine. And we had a couple more just pile up. Let's take one more shot at it right here. We'll look at Jeffrey Souza, though, this time. The 96. Nothing he could do. Probably couldn't even see it coming. Maybe even scared him a little bit. Tracy Powers bumps into the 79, but looks like he is going to escape without too much incident. I think we're going to see these 4 in the back come down pit road, try to fix their damage. Sure enough, here they come. Jeffrey Souza already on pit road. See another driver there. That's Glenn Grigsby. Remember his night ended earlier. An incident between him and the 79. So that is the second incident now tonight. The 79 has been involved in not the best night for him. But either way, these next gens don't take a lot of damage. So he may still have another shot to get out there and go for it. The real threat with these next gens, don't have to worry about damage as much as you do breaking a toe link or something in the suspension. If you do that, that's where you start to run into trouble. Top 5 running order as it goes. Tyler Marble first, second, Alan Pajari third, Jeff Marble fourth, Cody James, and rounding out the top 5. Somebody Eddie Musso Jr. Good recovery so far. And we are going to go green, it looks like, with 6 laps to go. And this 48-34 combo, they're looking pretty strong right now. I know they're not teammates, but if you're working that good with a guy, sometimes you might forget he's not your teammate. You'll try to work with him all the way to the end. Being a good pusher sometimes can be just as fun and put yourself in just as good of a position as being a leader. Daytona, sometimes if you can get that guy a big shot coming out of turn 4, if it's just you and him, we know how effective the side drafting is in these cars. Suck the other driver all the way back, sometimes even wash up the track. Feels like you just had someone push on the nose of your car all of a sudden. There we go. We should see the pace car lights turn off this time, signaling the 1 to go before we're going to go back green here at the World Center of Racing. Run a quick ad while these guys are finishing up this warm-up lap, but we'll be back for the green flag. Stick with us. Back live at Daytona International Speedway just in time for what might be the last green flag here tonight in Duel 2. Tyler Marble leading him to green on his outside, the 34, Alan Pajari. Green flag is back out. This will give you a good view of it here. The 34 and the 48 this time. Dead even restart. So does the second row. Into turn one, though. It looks like Tyler Marble is going to get the advantage. He does have his teammate now and Jeff Marble behind him. Those two not going to make a move on each other, at least not until the white flag. So that outside is going to have to work really hard. Can Cody James get Alan Pajari clear? And if he does, will the 34 drop low? We've seen the momentum be so strong on that bottom all night. And we talked about how good of a pusher he was. And here he is doing his thing again. Jeff Marble all over the back of the 48. You see even in the turn here. Thought about pushing, thinks twice about it. It's going to back off. 21 car out of turn 4. Going to relock onto the bumper of Alan Pajari. We're coming to 5 laps to go this time. We have had a decent amount of guys retire. Jeffrey Souza looks like he is out. Jacob Madison, he has also retired for the night. That's going to leave us with a 15-car duel to set the starting lineup for the Daytona 250. Still side by side down the back. Inside overall still seems to be the prevailing line, though. Outside has done a little better so far, but who can manage their temps the best? We see Eddie Musso here on the inside. He's got his teammate a row back on the outside, Joe Musso. Oh, the 2 gets really loose. Contact up into the 15. They're wrecking. This is a pretty big one. A lot of guys. The 27 slides up. Now the 46 into the wall. So is the 90, Bill Benedict. 37 over by the grass. We got a bunch of guys scattering, a couple of them on the pits. Oh, and that was a result of those old tires. Let's take a look at what brought out the third caution of the night. All right, so let's take a look at what happens here. I think the 2 maybe just got a little bit loose. This is what happens on these old tires. He was also really close pushing. He may have gotten a little bump. Let's see if we can get a better angle of this. How about, let's try looking at this from an aerial view. Here we go. Let's see if we can see if he gets a little shot. See, the 21 gets right on the bumper. That is going to be Cody James. Looks like he's fine here. Here comes the 74. No contact yet. Jumps high. He's going to try to tuck back in line. Doesn't look like there's any actual contact. Just kind of gets loose. Goes down. Makes contact with the 15. Back up the track. 21. Pretty solid contact into the wall. 15. Jeff Marble. Wow. What a save. Know a lot of the field wreck behind him, but still. Awesome. Awesome save right there. And then we see a bunch of these guys just piling. Austin Fitzgerald. Nowhere to go. Tracy Powers in it. The 46. Cody Richardson, he also had nowhere to go. He's going to get into the 90, Bill Benedict. The 37 also sliding around down in the grass. That was Brian Conklin. These two take a pretty good shot. It was square in the front. They may be able to get away with it and still get back on track. And, oh, boy, that was another close call there for Tracy Powers in the 25. Go back live. This looks like it is going to maybe shuffle up your top 5 just a little bit. Currently sitting in first is going to be Tyler Marble. Still second, Alan Pajari. Third, Jeff Marble. Fourth, Eddie Musso. And rounding out the top 5 is going to be Cody Graham, driver out of Liverpool, New York. Be interesting to see if he's going to be the one that tries to make the move. We did see Brian Conklin sliding around. Doesn't look like he has any damage. Jared Bundy in the 6. He may also be one of the drivers that has a shot at making the first move. And I'll tell you what, I don't think Jeff is going to be making a move on his teammate Tyler unless somehow the seas part, it clears open. It's just those two racing for the win. But we know how important teammates are in restrictor plate racing, and if he helps his teammate out this week, next week when it really matters, he might get some help from his teammate back. That'd be when he really is going to need it. If you guys are just tuning in, we appreciate it. You guys have been awesome all night. You are watching the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series presented by the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist. It is the Duels at Daytona tonight, setting the grid for the starting lineup next week in the Daytona 250. Duel 1 winner was Brian Watson, and the 04 Duel 2 winner, not sure who it's going to be. What we do know is we're going to be going into an overtime finish. Let's remind you of the rules. If we make it to that white flag with no incident, there will be no more cautions. However, if these guys start piling up and iRacing deems it necessary, they can still throw a caution on that first lap. If a caution comes out on that first lap, we will rack them up and do it again. 3 green-white checkers in total, so this will be 1 of 3. We saw the last duel go into a second one. We'll see if these guys can finish it off in the first one. If you guys have enjoyed what you're seeing tonight, all we ask is that you give us a like. It means a lot. And if you're new here, go ahead and follow, especially if you like the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup series. They will be here on Ghost Racing Network every Monday, hopefully for the whole season. We are starting our journey out at Daytona. But before Daytona, we had the clash. Saw Joshua Watson take that one home. Duel 1 went to another Team Watson, or a JBR E-Racing driver. That was his teammate who pushed him to the win in the clash. It went to Brian Watson tonight. And now we will see who can win Duel 2 tonight. I like Alan Pajari's chances. I also like the 48's chances. I think the 48 maybe has a little bit of a better shot right now because of 2 reasons. First thing being, we have just seen this inside be so dominant so far tonight. The outside has had its little spurts, but not like what we saw in Duel 1. And also 2 teammates on the bottom. And let me tell you something. Jeff Marble, the driver of that 15, he knows how to push. If he needs to, he will not hesitate to push in the corner and the tri-oval. Aggression gonna pick up though. If you are in the back, you gotta go. It is gonna be 2 laps to go at Daytona under the lights. Rest of the field catching up. Pace car pulls off. That outside doesn't have as many cars. We'll see what happens. Green flag is back out. Tyler Marble gets a good jump, but so does Alan Pajari. This 34 is going to try to get clear here if he can. Not going to be able to do it. He's going to have to back up now to the 94 of Eddie Musso. Jeff Marble was able to keep his teammate just out in front, and now you can push. If your car gets hot, it doesn't matter. You're going to have to run it till it blows up. We'll see if we see any 3 wide. The pack starts to separate further back. Off of turn 2, the bottom already showing dominance. Will Alan Pajari be able to have anything for him? 48 still leading the charge. He's got his teammate Jeff Marble in tow. Alan Pajari's got the 94 pushing. Still no run though. Further back, everybody stays 2 by 2. A lot of shuffling for positions further back. That outside though is really going to need a lineup to have a chance. Tyler Marble though sees the white flag this time. One more time around Daytona. Out of the tri-oval into the short chute. Up top, the 94 Eddie Musso. He's trying to get something going. Alan Pajari now jumps back down to the bottom. And it is a 4-car breakaway up front. Will any of these guys make a move? If they can stay tight, they might be able to pull away from the rest of the pack. 2 by 2, 5th on back. Right now, no race for first. The battle is for 5th. Up front, will Jeff Marble try to make a move, or will he stick behind his teammate? What can the 91 Cody Graham do? The 34 Alan Pajari, will he go with him? Off turn 4 for the final time. Now Cody Graham goes to the outside. He's going to get a push from the 34. Little bit of a run, but to the line. It's going to be Tyler Marble winning Duel 2 at Daytona. Good pushing from his teammate, and that is the 2nd race in a row. We see teammates pushing each other to the win. That is going to wrap it up for Duel 2 tonight. Unfortunately, we did not get to see anybody do their burnouts. But what we are going to do is go try to get some interviews. I think what we're going to do tonight, if we can still find them. Initially, we were going to interview the top 3 like we normally would. But with the way the duel format worked tonight, made it a little difficult. So we're going to go see if we can find both your winners from the duels tonight and talk to them. We'll be right back. Stick with us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have found the winner of each heat. So first, we're going to start with the winner of Heat 1, Brian Watson. Brian, you got a copy?
I do, yes.
Well, you're a little quiet, Brian. If you're able to turn your mic up for us so we can hear you a
How's
little
that?
bit. That's a
Is that
lot
any
better,
better?
man. Now we can hear you. Well, I'll tell you what, we talked to you just before that last restart in Duel 1. We told you good luck, see if you could get it done. Sure enough, you did. What did it take to get the win there in Duel 1 and get yourself on the front row for the Daytona 250 next week?
This was a team effort, man. I had my teammate behind me, Richard. He was the king of push, and just I couldn't do it without him. The team's been awesome. We've been super strong at these super speedways, and yeah, it's all about the team.
Well, teamwork definitely was key tonight. Before we let you go and get back to this practice race, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Just my team, family, friends, Jeff for putting on the league, you for broadcasting. So far, it's been real fun so far. Hope it continues.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That is your winner of Duel 1, Brian Watson. Currently in this practice race, going to see if he can get up there. We'll let him get back to it.
I can't leave until I'm driving.
And now we are going to interview your winner of Duel 2, Tyler Marble. Tyler, you got a copy?
I do.
All right, well, we were talking about how good of a pusher Jeff Marble was. He pushes you right to the win in Duel 2. How is that teamwork setting you guys up for next week in the Daytona 250?
Well, long race, so I mean, it'll be good to have teammates up with you for most of the race, up front to start the race. But when it gets down to it, it's all game for yourself. So, but I do appreciate help from my own man. He's a pretty good pitcher.
All right, before we let you get back to your practice race, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
I'd like to thank my old man for pushing me for the win. I'd like to thank you for broadcasting. I'd like to thank all of our partners, Allied Wheel Repair Specialist out of Richmond, Capitol Auto Group for sponsoring our Noble races, including next week. And yeah, everybody, Iris Knife Flag, Butt Kicker, Sim Racer Hub. Having a good season here.
And we will let Tyler Marble get back to his practice race. That was your winner, though, of Duel 2. Let's take a look at your finishing results before we let everybody go. First place in Duel 2, if it would go back up here so everybody can see it, is Tyler Marble. Second was Jeff Marble. Third is going to be Cody Graham. Fourth, Alan Pajari. Fifth, Eddie Musso Jr. Sixth, Brian Conklin. Seventh, Jeff Shutt. Eighth is going to be Cody Richardson. Ninth, Johnny McCallcheck. 10th, Bill Benedict III. 11th, Joe Musau. Looks like 12th is going to be Tracy Powers. 13th, Jared Bundy. 14th is going to be Austin Fitzgerald. 15th, Cody James. 16th, Jacob Madison. 17th, Jeffrey Souza. 18th is going to be Matthew Gearinger. And rounding out the field in 19th, who we saw have that issue early, is going to be Glenn Grigsby in the 64. That is just about going to wrap us up for tonight. Couple things to note before the rest of you guys hop out of here. We want to thank you all for coming out. You were watching the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series presented by the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist. Duels at Daytona. We saw Brian Watson get it done in Duel 1. Tyler Marble get it done in Duel 2. We will see you next Monday for the Daytona 250. Going to be the first of the No Bull 5 races. If you enjoyed what you saw tonight, don't forget to leave us a like. And if you're new, please follow. That is it. Have a good night. We'll see you guys next time.